Hello, and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozuwakun. Today on the program, APC inaugurate National Convention Committee as Jigawa governor says party may consider consensus candidacy. Presidency says no sacred cows in the recovery of looted funds. And later on the program, Melaye alleges plot to kill him as police lay siege to his home. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, Wale Adedayo, and Emeka Madunagu. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us once again. These are indeed trying times for the All Progressives Congress as it struggles to hold together the very fragile fabrics of the party. Its woes began when it failed to hold a national convention since 2014, an event constitutionally fixed for every 2 years. This has resulted in rifts in a party that rode high on a slogan of change in 2015 and made promises to fight corruption and lift Nigerians out of the doldrums of poverty. On Tuesday, the APC inaugurated its National Convention Planning Committee in Abuja with 68 members, chaired by Jigawa State Governor Abubakar Badaru. At the inauguration, Badaru said the APC may consider consensus candidacy. He said the party will maintain its current zoning arrangements. But on Monday, a taste of what may befall the APC occurred when the South-South zone splits after a controversial meeting in Edo State. Will the party pass the litmus test of holding a successful elective convention? Wale, let me start from you. I don't know. Governor Badaru is talking about consensus. Can you just give us an insight into the meaning of what he termed as consensus candidacy?
A consensus candidacy is an arrangement where the party leadership will agree on just one candidate to be presented. But that is if there are no other serious aspirants.
There are no other serious?
Yes, because according to the electoral regulations in Nigeria, there must be a contest for an office. I mean, INEC has to witness the primary. You cannot, by hook or crook, in any way, I mean, dismiss other candidates or stop them from, other aspirants or stop them from contesting. If there are no other serious aspirants, the one person might just be there. But I think, in a way, what the party leadership might be trying to achieve is a situation where what happened to the former ruling party, the PDP, does not happen to the APC. Because there are already signs that the Senate president might throw his heart into the ring. And the former Kano State governor, Kwankwaso, is also interested. Both of them are from the north. The zoning arrangement still favors the north. So if there are serious candidates serious aspirants from up north who are interested and who might likely feel like going the way of the former PDP governors who joined the APC at its formation. So the party leadership might feel it is necessary to use some things to present a consensus candidate. But that would be against the letters and spirit of the electoral regulations in Nigeria. You cannot do the arrangement in such a way as to frustrate other people out, keep them out, or do things as if to present a sense of electoral success where there is none. Because sometimes you might say you need 2 or 3 people to contest, but if there's no serious aspirants coming out, if it is just one person coming out, and by way of maybe voice vote or whatever, the convention will just say, okay, just one person is in and that is just it.
Emeka, I'm looking at a situation whereby from that South-South, if the zoning arrangements will be maintained, that means the chairman will come from South-South. Yes, sure. So I'm looking at a situation whereby from that same Edo State, if the former governor is interested, that's Adams Soshomole, yes, and the incumbent is interested. Yes. And somebody's talking about consensus.
Well, the if you look back to 2014, you remember there was a time Buhari supporters were talking of consensus, that the APC should not go to a convention, that there should be consensus. But the thing dragged till they eventually
couldn't reach.
agreed to a convention, to a national convention. So, talking about Oyegun and Oshomole, it's a dicey situation because the person that emerges will determine the fate of so many people across the country in APC, to determine governors. Are they going to come? Are they going to get tickets to come back? Senators, reps, and at all levels. So you find out that if the governor of Jigawa State is talking about consensus, left to the governors, many of them will stand with Oyegun. How many will stand with Oshomole? Because if Oshomole comes in, that will disrupt a lot of things. A lot of things would have to start all over again. Meanwhile, there's a lot of settled issues with Oyegun. Oyegun has been there on ground, so a number of things have been settled. But again, you look at the fact that some top members of APC, like Shehu Sani, have started defecting from the party. So
He didn't confirm that.
Sorry?
Shehu Sani debunked.
Well, it's not confirmed, but okay, fine. But definitely, what it shows you is that if certain interests are not, treated well, definitely there will be a gale of defections. So the governor talking about consensus, I think that what the governor did not say was that all the governors want consensus in their states.
Okay. Babajide, if somebody is talking about consensus and there's another aspirant and some people are actually backing that aspirant up, that means you can't ram that consensus, force the consensus down their necks. That means you have to leave it to convention to make it an elective convention.
No, I think first and foremost, we have to know where we are coming from. We are coming from the background of certain elements in the APC determined to secure tenure elongation for Oyegun and his people. And the governors, a lot of them who are in the first term, originally no less than 10 of them went for the idea of tenure elongation because they will ultimately benefit from that kind of arrangement with the leadership of the party in their respective states in their pockets. So now, the people who are determined against the advice of the president, against the wish of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and other people in the party, to secure tenure elongation by hook or crook, they are still firmly at their game. What the governor with the funny beard from Jigawa State said is merely part of the game. At least 10 of those governors are on the convention committee that was inaugurated yesterday. 10 governors who originally went for the idea of this tenure elongation. The most unfortunate thing that is happening is that under Baba Oyegun, we are seeing a situation in which someone who is a referee wants to referee a game in which he is playing.
Yes.
He's a player.
Against that party constitution.
He's a player. Yet he wants to be the referee of a game in which he is an active participant. Why did the APC have a successful convention back then? Baba Akonde was not an interested party. He was on his way out. He had no interest. So they successfully organized a convention. What we are seeing now is a determined stance on the part of some selfish, conceited individuals in the APC to hijack the party. The basis upon which this party was formed and this party grew in the minds of the people has been thrown to the dustbin now, all on the altar of their selfish ambitions. Because what's really going on? These guys sent a letter to INEC stating clearly that they were going to organize congresses and a national convention to replace people, vacant positions in the party, positions made vacant in their wards by death and appointment into positions. Is that,
You know that letter
is
was
that
gonna come
what
out.
the constitution of the party dictates? All the positions should naturally be declared vacant.
Vacant and
Because
they'll
these
go
people
for-
have come to the end of their tenure.
Yes.
Whether you replace Lai Mohammed as a former This Day reporter or not, or as a former commissioner for Bukola Saraki in Kwara, your position
It's up
must
for
be
grab.
thrown open like others.
And you're also entitled to recontest.
You can contest. Test your popularity. Why are they scared? Why are they running scared? Because all this talk, we all know where these guys are headed. Look, it is the ghost of Bamanga Tukur, the ghost in inverted commas now. Because Bamanga Tukur is still alive. But Bamanga Tukur was instrumental to the eventual defeat of the PDP.
Yeah.
Why? Because of his high-handedness,
Yes.
and the fact that he was stoic. He just wanted to make sure that he shoehorned everybody into, so that he can achieve his aim. The stakeholders meeting held, this Northeast stakeholders meeting that was held back then, out of 14 stakeholders, 13 voted against Bamanga Tukur. Everybody wanted Babayo. 13 voted against this man.
Senator
And what did we find? The then president insisted that it was Bamanga that he wanted. Where did he lead the party? Governors of the party. For the first time in African history, a sitting president was walked out on. A sitting president.
I remember
You are the
the
ruling party.
convention.
They walked out on you. And we saw those 5 governors.
That was the beginning of the end of
I
PDP.
was in Abuja then.
It was people, apart from Sule Lamido, chose not to go with them. Because he has always been a one-party man. He chose not to go with them. But the 5 governors eventually left. A former vice president of our country for 8 years, also left. So they are laying a foundation for the implosion of the APC.
Yeah.
That people will remember that right here, as I have predicted some events in our country, people will remember that I have been warning that selfish individuals in the party, even against the wish of the president, they can see clearly those who are opposed to the idea of
Tenure elongation.
No, they can see people who want elective congresses to take place, an elective convention to take place at all levels. They know them. They've carefully sidelined those people and are now just bringing in their own people. Go and see. Already in the state, you heard what happened even in Adamawa State. Those selfish governors, you see clearly now, they are even appointing people who will run the congresses. In Adamawa State, the governor is folding his hands, just simply waiting for those officials from the federal level. He has handpicked with his illegal party chairman that he brought from as local government chairman. No contest, though. He brought a local government chairman, made him chairman of the party in the state. With that now, he's already, arranging, putting people in place to organize sham congress in his state. Is that the APC that we used to know? The APC that we used to know was founded on fairness, transparency. So APC now, it will now be known for organizing sham congresses in today's Nigeria. That's where we are going? And people are seeing this, they think it's nothing to be ashamed about. I had the Jigawa governor, I'm just watching him. I'm a historian. All these things will be documented so that people can learn. When the APC finally self-destructs, people will learn from them. The smaller parties that we are seeing today, that some of them are underrating, they will learn from the mistakes of the APC. Except they retrace their steps. And as the president advised, they allow everyone who has interest to contest,
Ambition.
legitimate ambition within the party to
run.
But it's too late now.
Now, looking at the timetable, when the timetable of the the convention, when the timetable, part of the game plan, when the timetable came out, I looked at it the way and the thing was queued. And ordinarily, the thing was meant to maybe span across 1 month and so that people will be able to campaign to give time. But it was crowded, deliberately crowded. From the 1st of May now to 14th of May. Pa, pa, pa. So if you want to indicate your intention to run for anything, before you say Jack Robinson, the thing, you would have been...
See,
beyond
the timetable.
Hold on a little bit. That should, in every elective contest like this, that there should be room for people who are opposed to the conduct to be able to, write to the election petitions
yes,
committee.
appeal, yes,
to say, look, I'm opposed to this. For the petitions to be had, and then if there will be maybe a fresh contest, we'll see that to happen.
PDP
but when
did their own convention.
Crowded like this, how can that happen?
PDP did their convention. The chairman actually went around 36 states. Do you foresee a situation like this in APC?
See, there's something I mentioned earlier when I was talking, and Jide passed a comment in passing about that, talking about PDP. You see, the whole thing, you're blaming some governors, some unseen forces who want to maybe make Oyegun stay. To me, and that's my personal opinion, there's nothing happening now without the president's knowledge. Whatever convention is being planned, whatever congresses are being planned, it has a direct link, not indirect, with the presidential nomination later. If you're talking about consensus towards this convention, you might as well be talking about consensus towards the presidential primaries as well. And that's what I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
No, see, you spoke about that of the PDP. It is the same thing here. When I talk about democracy, and that is reality, whatever is being done at the national level right now in APC, without the go-ahead of Mr. President, it won't happen. That's a fact. So whatever game that anybody is playing, it has its approval, it has its signature. But, and that is a very, very big bird. He has to learn 1 or 2 things from what happened.
I have Usman Ibrahim on the line. Let's talk to Usman Ibrahim. Thank you for joining us, Usman.
Thank you.
Yes, you want to, your intervention on this APC convention?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. First and foremost, let me say I'm very grateful to participate today, this evening, the TVC Hangout. And I want to express my gratitude to your teams and for properly educating Nigerians on the political happenings, especially my good friend, Babajide, and yourself.
Thank you.
Who have been permanent participants in the Hangout program. What I want to say about what is happening in the APC today is the party is seriously, as far as I'm concerned, is seriously facing a serious danger based on what has happened in the previous political history of this country of recent, especially what happened to the PDP. Is rearing its head here in the APC. Why? Because the current leadership of the party and Oyegun has deliberately caged the party, including all its respected leaders, the likes of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, the likes of Nyako, the likes of Konkoso, and the rest of them. They have sidelined them to the extent that none of them at today has any input in what is happening in the formation or preparation of the conduct of either the congresses or the National Convention. He has pulled back to the governors who are all first-time governors who have been putting the question of tenure elongation of his own executive. We are not against re-electing him as the national chairman or any other chairman at whatever level to be re-elected. That is allowed under the APC's constitution and in fact the national constitution. But that should under a platform of free, fair, and equitable and transparent platform where everybody will be given the right to partake in the election. If you look at the statement just yesterday made by the National Chairman of the Competition Committee, he has gone out of his way to start gospeling the issue of consensus. Why should he start gospeling the issue of consensus? On whose behalf? On behalf of the nation? Or on behalf of who? As far as we are concerned, every major stakeholder who is qualified, every member of the party who is qualified to partake in the national election of the leadership of the party or at the state level is well educated to know that the party's constitution allows for a consensus. You don't need to be told by the chairman of the convention. However, they have gone that statement. They are going to say they are going to start selling forms for contest in the to the various offices of the convention and the Congress. But as a case study, in Adamawa State, right now as I'm speaking to you, the governor has unilaterally started constituting Congress committees to all the 226 wards we have in the state, plus the 21 local government, without even waiting for the National National Working Committee under his own godfather, Oyegun, to now send in people who will even teleguide and umpire the conduct of the Congress in Adamawa State. He has already constituted the 226 votes and the 21 local government, and just waiting for the committee to come and stamp the selected members of the executive at all levels from the work with the local government. No one is saying officers of the party should not be re-elected. They have the right to recontest, and if their own people decide that this man
I want to thank you.
performed creditably well.
Usman, thank you for your contribution. I think
Not have mentioned consensus without direct or indirect instruction from somewhere. That's what I was saying earlier.
but it's
It is
not
not
necessarily.
possible. Is the chairman of the convention committee, fine. But you must know that in the party, there are leaders and there are leaders. There are things that he will be instructed to do directly or indirectly. He may not like it.
by
he may
Mr.
like it.
President.
That's what I'm saying. I have no doubt.
It doesn't even matter who has directed.
that's
We
because he's the
are
national
talking
leader
about
of the
the
party, whether you like it or
constitutionality of this
We
moves.
agree on the constitutionality.
That's what
But
bothers us.
see, it is even good you mentioned that of the PDP. It is the same situation you have here. But the challenge before President Muhammadu Buhari right now is that, he did something fantastic the other day when he backtracked on the question of, Oyegun staying and going for, election again. In this case, he has to go the whole hog, not halfway, as they're doing now. Because if they insist on this consensus thing, maybe out of fear that some people might hijack some state structure of the party towards the presidential primaries, I think it should not contemplate that at all. It should just allow due process to go on like he had done before.
Emeka,
When he doesn't do that,
on this.
the party will be going the way of the PDP.
Yeah, well, I totally align with them because I was surprised when the governor of Jigawa State actually, because I read it in the papers and then I watched it on TV. And then what I could see clearly was that, like the word often used, the cabal, that there is a set template. There's a template, working towards the answer. The questions have been said, the answers have been fixed. So they're just fitting the pieces of the jigsaw together to get to a predetermined end. So the thing is this. Today, Asiwaju Tinubu met with APC faithful in Lagos. There were certain things that were said in that place, and then all over the country, interests, different interests are setting their own agenda. But at the end of the day, I doubt if APC will survive the tsunami that will come.
If things go on like this.
Things, because that's how things will go. There's not, I mean,
No, it may not necessarily go that way.
Well, but,
It may not necessarily go that way.
You
but
think they will change their mind?
you think they'll change their minds?
No, not they. Like I said earlier, my brother.
We have to-
The onus rests on Mr. President.
We have to wrap up on this.
rests
Wale,
on Mr. President.
Wale, we have
Do
to
you
wrap
think
up.
he will change-
Babajide,
No, that's just it.
Cosimo, on this.
It's just it's a waiting game. I wish we had more time. I will have explained to Nigerians clearly how, if not for about 10 Nigerian lawyers, the last election would not have been.
Yes, that's true.
Because those lawyers secured a stay of execution,
Yes.
a stay of proceedings,
That's true. Justice-
72 hours to the election.
Justice Gabriel
And
Kolade-
remember what happened. The Supreme Court eventually ruled because one of those two cases, one was about Buhari, that Buhari was not qualified to contest. The second one was about the card reader. The Supreme Court eventually ruled that the card reader was not, at the time of that election, part of our law.
Yes.
What would have happened was that if not because those lawyers led by Olanipekun, Oshikpito and the rest of them, if they had not secured the stay of execution, President Buhari would not have been able to win that election because INEC would have been forced, the election would have been postponed and INEC would have been forced to not deploy the card reader. And we all know that the card reader made the election transparent for Buhari to win. So when people are losing their heads, they should know that some of these things have legal implications. If they make any false move, as the president said that day,
And that's what
it could lead to legal action that could render all the elections that they've held a nullity.
Exactly.
That's because
So,
of selfish
Then,
tendencies.
yes, just because of the selfish ambitions of a few old men. It is important that they just calm down and think of the future of the party.
Not
You can abuse the PDP all you want, but every time you point fingers at PDP, the rest of those fingers are pointing at you. And every time you behave in a way that reminds us of the PDP, then Nigerians will be asking questions.
What's the difference?
I mean, if you have a chairman now who is behaving like Bamanga Tukur, people will ask themselves, is PDP back all over again? So, and if you spend all your time abusing them, they will remind you that in some of your actions, you make it look like PDP is alive and well.
All right, still to come. Presidency says no sacred cows in recovering of looted funds. Stay with us, we'll be right back. It's still journalist Hangout. All right, welcome back. For weeks, Nigerians have witnessed a looters list competition as the federal government sought to add bite to its anti-corruption campaign. In February, acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, said more than 473 billion naira was recovered in 2017. This is besides money recovered from foreign countries recently. The presidency stepped up its campaign. It appointed a London-based Nigerian private investigator, Victor Uwaje, to help trace and recover undeclared assets and proceeds of fraud. On Monday, Uwaje said there will be no sacred cows in dealing with corrupt Nigerians. Well, why should Nigerians believe Victor Uwaje? Babajide, what's this about?
We need money. We need money wherever we can find it. It got so bad for us that we were even taking a loan as little as 1 billion.
$1 billion.
Yes, we're taking foreign loans at once, so as little as 1 billion, 1.5 billion. I've seen the vice president write to the National Assembly for permission to take a loan of 1.5 billion, as little as 1.5 billion. You know, so we need money. Our debt stock is growing
Yes.
because we want to do a lot, but there's not much money to do a lot. The infrastructure deficit that we suffer in our country is huge.
Massive.
It's huge.
Massive.
What is the size of our budget? So even some African countries, their budgets are higher than ours. The yearly budgets of some African countries, smaller countries. What is the size of our budget? So the truth is we need money. And if we need money so much and we can't find it, and we know that some people somewhere have stolen money or suspected to have stolen money, we will make every move that is necessary to recover the loot. I'm happy about the aggression that is being shown to recover stolen assets of Nigeria, including the never-ending loot of Abacha. I've sat with some people who, when they are talking about the government that looted Nigeria the most, they don't even mention Sonny Abacha. And I ask myself, why is it that we lack a sense of history in our country? You are just talking about a government that left office some time ago. Abacha, since the 90s, we have been recovering money that is stolen.
At a good exchange rate.
Yes, and we have not stopped. The last time we took about $330 million. We have not stopped finding money. It discovers some of the best havens to keep money in the world. Countries that I never heard about in my life. Jersey Island, Liechtenstein. You know, he knew the best place to keep stolen money. Abacha was a genius at stealing. So now we've successfully laid our hands on some of the money that Abacha stole, and they've given us an interest. And I'm telling you, the over $300 million that we recover from Abacha, it won't be the last. We will continue to find, because the man did so well at stealing. Some people may want to rewrite history. They may want to deodorize him and make him look like a saint. He was never a saint. If he stands before God, God will tell him to his face that, look, you looted Nigeria.
Blind.
Yes, and he would not be able to deny,
30
because
years
it's
after.
documented.
How many years after?
So many years after.
We are
still finding monies that Abacha stole. And a lot of the monies that he stole went into private hands, other people's hands, because he died suddenly.
Yes.
So they couldn't make last-minute moves to even help warehouse some of those money where the children can have access to them. Remember, we signed a deal with the Abacha family to even concede some of what is
Some
stole.
of what is to, yeah.
The Obasanjo regime, because of very high litigation cost, decided, okay, let us sign this deal.
How much that time? That
it was about $2 billion or so that we
conceded
to the family. Yet people don't talk about him. When they talk about people who have stolen money, they will be mentioning some people who are still around. They conveniently forget a man who was a don at stealing. So the truth is, if they can if they can recover money from the Ezane or the later day thieves, good for our country. I'll be happy if we can deploy that the money recovered from the later day thieves to something productive.
And those might be rookies.
Because we are broke. It's just a fact. Let's not. Yes, he probably taught them. Abacha probably taught them how to steal, but some of them were smarter. That's why you are struggling to find where some of those people kept money. We are struggling. Seriously, we can't find where some of them kept money, because these are modern day thieves who found convenient and safe means of hiding their loot. And that's what has happened. But now, with a private investigator scoring the globe for where Nigerians who stole money kept their money, maybe hopefully we'll be able to recover a lot more. We don't have a choice. We are broke as a country. The Minister of Finance may tell you that no, we are this. Economic jargons don't work for our nation. When they say, oh, debt, size of debt versus GDP ratio, it doesn't work for a country like us. What you need to ask people is, okay, let us look at revenue. When they tell you our debt to GDP ratio is fantastic, oh, lie from the pit of hell. You ask yourself, what about revenue? How much money are we making?
How sustainable?
How much money are we making? Everybody is complaining now that the cost of servicing our loans is extremely high.
61% of the budget.
I believe so too. I believe so too. I don't deceive myself. But wherever we can find little money, pockets of money here and there that we can use to execute contracts that will make life more meaningful for our people, I will encourage the government to go after such money.
Emeka, it's like a kind of in thing at a point in time. You must have properties abroad, especially government officials, go to London, I think Dubai is their next destination now, the way they invest and everything. And at the end of the day...
We'll catch them, because government has signed a deal with the government of Dubai.
Mm-hmm. So if we're able to rake in this thing in a transparent exercise.
But the sad thing is this. While we're looking for looted money, looting is still going on.
Yes.
That's the sad thing. You know, the left hand is working, the right hand is working. And how do you, well, you know, the system is that our the people in power, they're ambidextrous. The left hand and right hand work at the same time. So how do you rescue this economy?
But the vice president has said that there's no corruption.
That's what the vice president said. But you see, let him leave. Let the vice president leave his exalted office. Let him dress incognito.
It's not
and go round. No, let the vice president dress incognito. Let him go round. Let him even begin from the federal secretariat and go round. I just give him 2 days. He will collapse.
You know what? So let's not even go to that. When a government fails to start the corruption war by sanitizing the civil service, you just tell yourself that we are wasting time.
The same vice president
we will not achieve much.
The same vice president has said that there is no corruption, but you nominated 2 people who had corruption cases hanging on them. Now, what does that tell you? That right on your table, right on your table, right on your table, there is fire on the mountain, right on the table, and you are saying that there is no problem. So that is a political statement.
What of David Babashila?
So many cases.
Was it under Jonathan that it happened?
But the thing is this, for me, you see, this man you are hiring, he's not coming at a cheap cost. The man is also going to get his own cut.
But so far we can mop up these things.
Okay, fine. Another government comes in, they will hire another private investigator. Another government, and I hope it doesn't become an enterprise.
Briefly, Bali.
See, I'm very happy that Emeka is here. Both of us were at the Punch newspaper together. There was a story we worked on at that time. I'm talking about this private investigator that was hired by the federal government to investigate looted whatever abroad. I don't think it's necessary.
It's not.
There was an association of Nigerians in the UK then. If you remember the case of the former Plateau State Governor,
Darien,
who was arrested in the UK.
Yeah.
Ordinary Nigerians.
Senator Joshua Darien,
they went
still
after
in the
him.
Senate.
They got information about him. They petitioned the British authorities, not even Nigerian per se. It was based on the petition written by those ordinary Nigerians, not employed, not contracted by the Nigerian government, that made that thing happen. In fact, the story was about we did about 3 this. But for me, in summary,
we really have to move on this.
To have this investigator. You don't pay the Jebu man here. If anybody who works workshop, what's the meaning of workshop?
If our people abroad are happy with the corruption fight of the current administration, they will do more.
You chop where you work. That's the meaning of workshop. So let him, if he can recover stolen money for us. It's
so I take 1% and you take 9%. Well, we have to move on. Moving on. The senator representing Kogi West, Dino Melaye, is neither a hero nor a villain. The bold-talking vocal lawmaker is fighting tooth and nail against a recall process that has remained a jigsaw puzzle. Melaye, who has been engaged in a running battle with the Kogi governor, Yahaya Bello, is also under police scrutiny after he was accused of supplying arms to some murder suspects. The embattled lawmaker has denied this allegation. On Monday, the drama began when Melaye was arrested at the Abuja airport, but was released eventually. Not long after, security operatives again went after him, laying siege to his residence in Metama, and the lawmaker wasted no time in alleging plots to assassinate him. But this morning, we witnessed the possible climax when the senator surrendered to his pursuers. Now, it remains to be seen how the drama would reach its resolution. Now, I just gathered now that the drama is yet to abate, that I think as they were carrying him from one destination to that, I can't really confirm that right now, I think maybe he's injured. He attempted to get out of the vehicle, jump out of the vehicle midway, and we don't know. But it's becoming like a big joke, Jide. A very big joke, because if somebody is...
You mean Jide's state?
No, it's no longer a set. It's set so.
So,
Thanks for the solidarity. He was just trying to be mischievous. Everyone knows what my state is.
He was trying to leave Nigeria yesterday, the senator, and I thought at that point that would have been rounded off and to go and...
There's no point jumping down if indeed they were, because you are a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic. If you've been arrested, there's no reason jumping down. You only lose your freedom for maybe a few hours.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 days.
With good lawyers.
Yes.
48 hours.
If you even look at the criminal...
That's no, you can afford SAN.
If it is true, they don't confirm that I jumped down.
My director was just telling me before he entered the studio. He said it has been confirmed. Yes.
So if he jumped down, then it's very unfortunate. There was no point jumping down. You see, I do not believe that the police have a cast iron case against Dino. I don't believe they have a cast iron case. And in the end, if they don't have a cast iron case, they will be forced to acquit. Apologies to Cochran, the American lawyer. If the gloves don't fit, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit in the O.J. Simpson matter. So they will be forced to acquit if they can't find cast iron evidence against this guy. So why can't he just be patient? Yes, they arrest you, you lose your freedom for some hours. There's no need putting your life at risk.
At all.
You said they want to kill you, and then you are the one jumping down. What if you break your neck in the process? What if you break your neck in the process? They will say the police have killed. The police are in position to arrest anyone.
My producer just told me that he was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance after he did that he actually jumped down.
What's the meaning of that? Tomorrow maybe people will see him in neck braces. They will say, oh, see what they've done to a senator in neck braces. We don't need all these theatrics. Let the police...
Drama king.
Yes, I mean, and they will probably wax another album about it. We don't need all of this. Kogi State is the most badly managed state in Nigeria. And I sympathize for people of Kogi State. I really sympathize. I sympathize. The most badly managed state in Nigeria is that state. No development going on in that state. And people like Dino brought the Abelo to power. Dino even shouted, as MC, because he was
I remember
doing the job of MC at that time. What people like Gardenka
should have done,
should be doing. They took over their job and was doing their job. And he said, the people wanted Abubakar Audu, but God wanted Abelo. Can you, in all honesty, tell me that given the extent of failure that Abelo has constituted in Kogi now, that you can say it was God that brought him? What is the sin of Kogi people?
I thought everything that God created, I thought they are meant to be good.
No, they say it's just empty effusion from this senator. Empty effusion. Effusions that he now regrets. Things that he now regrets. Words that came out of his mouth that he deeply regrets. So today, he's been harassing Yabelo all over the place. Yabelo, in my view, is using state power against him. That is what is happening. And people will say, are they not in the same party? Let them resolve their differences.
And this goes beyond Yabelo. Yabelo cannot control the police in Abuja.
Okay, sit down there. When they brought a new CP from Abuja, what happened? Did the governor accept the new CP? Didn't you read what happened? Didn't the new CP eventually run away?
And the OCP was
And the
brought
OCP, Janga, was brought back. We are in Nigeria.
That is
you see,
because Abuja
the
agrees with
country.
him. If Abuja doesn't agree with him.
Yes, if
The
Abuja
governor's
agrees.
ADC was withdrawn now.
back.
The governor's ADC was withdrawn.
Yeah.
The policemen
Must-
around
so
the
you
governor
think-
were withdrawn by Abuja.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen like that.
No, that's what I'm
Don't-
saying. Because Abuja agrees with him, end of story.
The
If
governor
Abuja
is
doesn't agree
regularly
with
in
him,
the
that
Abuja.
cannot happen.
And so
That's the backing
who
of
is
Abuja.
arguing with you that Abuja didn't agree with?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said earlier.
If I say someone is using state power,
Yes.
he can use state power by his closeness to other people. So what is this is what is happening.
By proxy. No?
This is what is happening. We all
But
know.
that's a tragedy because being a senator, irrespective of the behavior of Dino Amilai over the last few months, the thing is there should be respect for the office of a senator, whoever the person is.
Really?
Yeah.
Above the law?
No, not
Can be
above,
prosecuted, can be charged?
not above the law. Take it from what he has said now. If you are using state official instrument of state to persecute somebody because of his or her political position, then that is wrong. You are not talking about legalities here.
You see,
So
we
you
see
must
that happen in
respect
our
the office
country
of the
from
Senate.
time to
And I
time.
think
We
the
see that
ball is
happen.
in the court of the Senate to do the needful in this. No, the thing is,
What are you suggesting to them to do?
no, see,
They met today for some
whatever
time.
the police,
The leadership of
the
National
police,
Assembly,
the
they met.
police is a federal institution.
But he should
If
have
you are
given
talk-
himself hope when they.
If you are talking about the federal government,
shouldn't he have given
you are
himself hope?
including the
But what
national
if he knows that
legislature
innocent-
in
what
it.
what if he felt he would not be given justice? He would not
No,
be given fair hearing?
It's not about what you feel. It's about respecting the law.
I'm telling
The
you.
police is a public institution in charge of maintaining law and order. They send
that
for you.
is-
We've seen people even Sonny Ade when I was reporting. They sent for Sonny Ade now over a matter.
Jide-
And he gave himself
Jide-
up. He went there.
At some point,
At your level, you don't expect to be arrested. They will respect you. They will say, okay, we are inviting you. And then you walk there on your own. If you truly want to show that, yes,
can't throw you
you
to
deserve
jail.
the strength. They can't.
If you get your lawyer,
So, but if you fail to go
between
there,
Abuja and
if you fail to
what if
go,
the mishap happen?
if they send for you and you fail to
What like they
give
had to
yourself
this,
up, and you don't have
security house?
immunity, you don't have immunity,
Yeah.
of course they will arrest you.
you don't understand what I'm saying now. Between Abuja and what if a mishap should happen?
The mishap has just
policemen
happened now by him attempting to
That
jump
is
out
an
of the
hypothetical question. What if
You
it
have to
happens?
consider
It's
your
an
security
hypothetical
first.
question.
But
You have to
for me-
consider your security
for
first.
me, I feel also that the police should be, they should exercise some restraint. The drama is too much. The siege on his house, because you're accusing him of
I think
giving,
it's the Senate that is not in
giving
his
him
house.
false,
That's
of
it.
giving false information, perjury. Look at the Criminal Code Act. Sections 113 to 119.
Is that the
You will
only
find
thing?
out that no, I mean basically that's where the autism
No, it
before
was
they
the
brought
boys,
in
those boys
before they
now.
brought in those boys. But first, starting from it, you said he gave false information, which is perjury, right? But look at the requirements for you to establish perjury in the Criminal Code Act. Yes, I know Dino should have given himself up. I agree.
Yes,
he should have
that's
given
it.
himself
That's
up.
why I
But
blame-
also, the police should become, they should, because of the fact that this is a man who likes drama. So the more you chase him, the more he drags you into his drama. Yes, you want to do your job, but you should also be conscious.
Let me pick. Taiwo is calling us from Lagos, my final caller. Thank you for joining us, Taiwo.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Taiwo.
And good afternoon to everyone in the studio.
Great to Taiwo.
Please, I want to look what is happening now. The Dino Melaye issue, I think it's just a political issue to me. Because Dino Melaye, I think I watched when the Ayatollah was flying. I think I know what Dino Melaye did to me. And I know what is going to happen is that this thing is going to affect APC in the future. Because a lot of drama is happening in their party. And this same thing happened before when PDP, that was 2014. So many things happened. And this kind of a thing is going to come to drama. And in fact, I will just, as well, they are embarrassing Nigeria. That's what they are just doing because it doesn't make any sense.
Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you for your contribution. Judy, finally, when we want to look at this, it should face, I think, it should face the law and it should clear his name.
Yes, I'm confident that they do not have a cast iron case against him, as I said earlier. So let him go there. Look, it's for people who like the good life. Mere contemplation of losing their freedom for a minute can drive them nuts. I know how he's feeling.
Yeah.
But look, don't feel too bad, because at the end of the day, you'll be vindicated. Stay in the custody of the people who have arrested you until further notice. Stay in their custody. They are not going to do anything.
They'll go to court.
They cannot even keep him beyond maybe 1 or 2 days.
24 hours. I mean, 48 hours.
It's
If-
not- it's
I
not
know
even
that
terrorism.
eventually lawyers will come to his aid
him to take that
and they will release him.
I won't advise him to. I won't advise him to do
He
that.
should run away. He should be on the run.
No, in his position, I won't. You have laid
doesn't
a
have
valid
immunity.
point now that somebody is using state's
We have to go.
Doesn't matter.
power to terrorize
We have
the
to
guy.
go. Emeka Madunagu,
Thank you very
thank you
much.
so much
Thank
for
you
being
very
part of
much.
this edition. And Wale Adedayo, thank you.
You won't kill him now.
And the maestro himself, Abajide
Somebody just happened
Kolade-Otitoju.
and we forgot.
Thank you. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platform showing on the screen. Catch us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubako. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.